Zealand at the time, but I knew, I heard about the riots the nights before the riots. That there's something is going to happen because there were two parties in Tonga at the time. There was one government, which is the Prime Minister at the time, Maeli was the Prime Minister, and their position was Akilisi Pohiva as the leader. So there were two groups in Tonga which they wanted to show their interest in the government. We wanted to implement democracy in Tonga, which is the present Prime Minister Akilisi now, which we fought for. He's been fought for a while, more than 30 years.
So you're saying there were two parties back in Tonga at the time when it happened?
Yes. The people that wanted to stay with the monarchy and in the previous system in Tonga, which is the monarchy, and we wanted the new generation, and Akilisi we pushed for democracy. So there were two groups, one supported by the government and the other one supported by the present government. So there were two leaders, you know. It's amazing how things were done. But for me, I knew that there would be a time people will show their angers. But there were a lot of misinformation about the people. They say, oh, the Tongan people are royal people. Tongan people, they have a big heart. They won't do anything stupid like burning down the Nuku'alofa or kill someone. But for me, no. We are all human beings. We have a heart. Sometimes we cry when we sad, and we show our angers, and we are happy. We smile and do something that is very rare to us. We normally doesn't do it. So that's what happened with these two groups, you know. They show who's who and who's right, who's wrong. So, but for me, what I believe at the time, I was still believe the constitutional monarchy is the best government in Tonga, except that they don't clean their own mess, you know, because some of the ministers in the government were corrupted, and the king doesn't kick them out or send them to court, you know.
So Alani, thanks for the comments. So tell me, the Nuku'alofa riots happened, there were two parties. What was your role when the riots happened, or leading up to the riots?
Well, I think my role is to let the people see the best, the truth on both. They both true, but to a certain degree. And which one is the best for us to go? Which the way forward that we're gonna pick? Are we gonna move to democracy and let the voice of the people heard, which majority, or we stay with constitutional monarchy, where we will only minority will decide how we live. So, but because of the monarchy doesn't really give us more chances to have our say. I give you an example. The King George V, which is the older brother of the present king, he was running the Don Front and took over the Tongan power board and run it as a personal business, you know, which is a conflict for me. It's a conflict of interest because of his title to the throne. It's okay if he wasn't to become, but because of the corruption, people that surrounded him, like the two Manilala brothers, you know, then Felete coming in as a prime minister again. They were all team up against the people, which we cried foul when they bought the Princess Ashika from Fiji. Was a rotten boat, which is I call it is a floating coffin, you know. So it's proof what we've been crying for is too much corruption, and that's why we push for democracy. So my role is to let the people see we need to change. We need to change for the better. But it's so sad for me when we change, we manage, and the king endorsed it for Tonga to become a democratic government, which is Akilisi Pohiva was the opposition at the time to Felete. Now, he doesn't deliver what we expected. It's still the same system that happened in the old constitutional monarchy, the same thing that he's doing.
And what's that? What's that?
Well, he cried that foul on the king when he handpicked his ministers for cabinets. So, and he called the king as a dictatorship leader. So, he did the same thing to our groups. He said, Dr. Halapua, said Mr. Pueluelu, Isipulu, Fali, Situpo, Alani Taione, from our original group, which we were to go into parliament and form the new government, which is now. So he finds it very hard now because the people that he's using as the president were independent. They never believed in democracy. This guy just come in as from an outsider, so they don't believe in democracy. So that's why he's struggling at the moment, because it's more of them. So what's really happened when the riots started? Yeah, I knew that it's gonna happen because at the time when I was protesting here in Atalanga, I ran my car on the gate and burned it outside. Yeah. Which is a signal to the Tongan people, look, it will happen soon in Tonga. You know, that's what is gonna happen in Tonga, and it won't be long. It took about less than a month from that happened. The riots exploded in Tonga. And then I wanted the people to know the power is in the hand of the people. The power is not in the hand of the government, but it's on the hand of the ordinary people. When they get together and they, instead of working single, they need to work together. And that's when the power exists. You know, I want to prove to them, if I can do it here, they can do it there. So, and then I'm glad, you know, to show it's not as anybody owning. It's the collective of the power of the people or the individual. And that's when it's happened. So, to an extent of that, I regret to see the thing that we were dreaming to for a better Tongan, that we need to have a new Tongan system where we believe democracy is the best. It wasn't delivered by our president, prime minister, which is Akilisi Pohiva. So it's so sad for me to see the hard work that we did.
Back then?
Riots, yes, back then. Because we came through a hard way. The government was blocking us from a lot of things, you know, and then we protest. I think the protest march that I've been involved in Tonga, I flew from New Zealand 3 times to join those big marches, take some petition from New Zealand, Tongan people in New Zealand to support the Tongan people in Tonga. And I can see that nothing is going to be changed until we go a little bit extreme, like burning down the we have to fight, you know, between the two rival groups, you know. And that's part of democracy, of the system where we wanted to do it. you know.
Thank you, Alani. And just a question, being part of the main two groups back then, you did the riots, were you not surprised that the burning of Nuku'alofa happened?
I'm not surprised, because I knew it's going to happen if the government is not given to the people, if the corruption is not stopped, if the king was more intervene at the time, then if the king was to say, look, forget about what is happening, let's reconcile and let's work together. I will declare that we have a new, let's democracy people move in and run the government. But we need, like what happened now, there won't be any riots, you know. Everybody will be still happy, and no life is lost, you know. Like
people died,
you know. There were a lot of injuries, you know, a lot of bloods, you know, but that's part of the human nature, where when we wanted to have our freedom, we have to find a way out. We have to break a house where we live with no air so we can breathe, and we have to we either demolish the house so we can get out, or do something
drastic like the burning of Nuku'alofa.
Yes.
So Alani, referring back to what happened, why didn't you think the king or the royal family should have intervened back then? Because they didn't.
I think just because of wrong people that advising the king at the time. I have respect for Taione, the former King Tauwhahautupofa, Taione. He knew when the people start making noise about anything in the government, he intervened. I'll give you an example. When the Prime Minister, when Akilisi and our democracy people wanted to take the land of our people that is overseas, who are become citizens of New Zealand or Australia or America, and they want our democracy people like Akilisi, they wanted to take all those lands out from us and give it to the people that stay in Tonga. The king knew that's wrong, because when our people come overseas, it's an enlarge of Tonga to New Zealand or Australia for our people, and part of our and the people is an assets for the kingdom. We send our money, send stuff over there, and it's helping the economy of the government. So the king declared it's not going to happen, you know, and that's what I'm saying. The King Tauwhahautupofa was a very honorable and wise man, you know. He can foresee the mistake, and I'm pretty sure the two sons, the late King George V, he can foresee that, but because of the two Manilala brothers, they were too greedy, and they, like what I say, people surrounded you and advise you if they are corrupted. You end up with a corrupted government. And at the moment, the George VI, he can see and learn a lesson from those previous government. Now he is happy to endorse the democracy, and he is willing for us to do it, to go to the extent and show the powers in the people and let them run it. But it's so sad that to see the things today is not delivered. The Prime Minister doesn't deliver those, you know.
Thank you, Alani. So, talking about delivery, do you feel like the current Prime Minister, which is Akilisi Pohiva, which is funny enough, a former pro-democracy leader on the same team that you fought for. Why don't you think he's not sort of aiming towards a better Tonga? I mean, he's only been in the role for 18 months and is coming up with an election next year. And you're saying that since going into Parliament, do you feel he's not leading the people into democracy to be what truthfully Tonga should be right now?
I think if the democracy exists in Tonga, I would say no. It's only the words that the system is there, but for someone to deliver democracy for the people hasn't arrived yet. Because what Akilisi and us we plan to do, he doesn't follow the roadmap that we wanted to see. But to an extent, he can still make it if he changes his way and come back to the roadmap of what we plan to do, and focus on it. He can still deliver democracy, but for now, he's not the right man for it. I have a pick who's the right man. It will be Dr. Halapua, because Dr. Halapua, he's neutral. He can bring the monarchy and the nobles and match it with the people and find the best solution where it's not rip each other apart, but to work collectively, and work together as a roadmap that he was designed for our parliament is called Kafataha, which is the king, the noble, and the people. Kafataha means that's when we weave together a few 3 ropes or 4 ropes together and make it just one rope. It's so strong and it's work together in harmony. And that's because President Prime Minister Akilisi Pohiva, he got a different mindset from Dr. Halapua. Halapua can have a broad way of understanding of where the problem lies. He wanted to eliminate any more problems. But Akilisi is more focused, either with me or not with me, in a dictatorship way,
Now you mentioned dictatorship, you said that he has like the general approach. What do you mean by the general approach from Akilisi Pohiva?
I think he knew, it was a shock for me seeing what he's doing now. I think he thought he won't become a prime minister. And he thought this is last year. Last year was his last going into parliament. But because it's a shock for him, he wasn't ready for that. He knew there's something coming up for him to be a prime minister, but he wasn't sitting down to study his role, of what he's gonna do. But because it's a sudden impact of a lot of things happen, like what I'm saying, our groups that he sacked them, he with his own authority from the groups, because the people, whatever Akilisi was saying, this is like a godfather to all the Tongas, and like me. But when he started to go back and deliver dictatorship, that's when I walk away. I don't support it, because democracy is a principle where it's not perfect, but it's close where our voice can be heard. So it's so sad that I see Akilisi, but I wish him again good luck if he come back to the roadmap where we plan. So for him to follow instead of doing it in his own mind, listen to the people and what he promised when he was campaigning for parliament. No, I heard some rumors that if the vote of no confidence this month is going to happen if Akilisi will be demoted by the vote inside the parliament. The people are going to rise up again, like the 1611, 2006, and I don't believe it, because our people is using threat to still hold Akilisi into power. But for me, I would advise our people, please, we make a wrong move, because we already democracy now. The rules of democracy exist now. The power is in us. The king gives us all the authority. So Akilisi was voted by the people in democracy way to go into parliament. And those members in parliament, if they vote him out, it was done through democracy. They should look at the legal side of it and play the games on it. Don't use threatening or trying to fight like the riots. And I would agree with the king if he should allow the army to kill them. It would, I would say, it is a treason, you know, and that's just cross the line. That's illegal. You know what happened at the riots is two different issues. We were fighting both parties on a game. We show each other who is the truth. Now we on a one page now, but if we cross the line, the people are still stubborn to do what happened on the riots. I would agree with the army to intervene. You know, like there was, I heard on the news that there was some protests in Papua New Guinea and the police shot some of the students, which is, I feel, that's wrong. What they did was wrong. But if they do that in Tonga, I would agree with them on that, because democracy is already exists. Why we still want to go back? I think those people are stupid, and we need to move on with our life, you know?